Right, we are going to move on. We are on to Article 12. Again, I remind everyone, as you are exiting, please keep your voices down. To see if the town will vote pursuant to MGL Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 45, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate and enter into a payment in lieu of tax pilot agreement with the lessee operator of the solar photovoltaic energy generating facility located off Mill Road, Hampden, Mass, known as parcel ID number 06-005-000. On such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen shall deem to be in the best interest of the town, or take any other action relative thereto. A motion?
Mr. Moderator, I would move that the town vote pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 45, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate and enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement with the lessee operator of the solar photovoltaic energy generating facility located off Mill Road, Hampden, Mass, parcel number 06-005-000, upon such terms and condition as the Board of Selectmen shall deem to be in the best interest of the town.
We've got a motion and a second. Is the advisory on the recommendation?
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Anybody want to speak to this, or are we prepared to go to vote? We have a motion. We have a second. Apparently no discussion on the pilot agreement vote. This requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Are there any opposed? There is a majority. Article 13, Scanty Valley Water District improvements. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer from unappropriated available funds a sum of money to make improvements and upgrades to the pump station and to connect additional users to the water system, or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate up to $1,500,000 by borrowing to improve and upgrade the pump station and to connect additional users to the water system. That up to $1,500,000 borrowed by the treasurer, who is authorized with the approval of the selectmen to issue any bonds or notes that may be necessary for that purpose, as authorized by General Laws, Chapter 44, subsections 7 and 8, and any other general or specific law for a period not to exceed the maximum number of years authorized by law, and to apply the premium received by the town upon the sale of any bonds or notes thereunder, less any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes to pay project costs or reduce the amount authorized to be borrowed by the amount.
We got a motion, we got a second. Advisory recommendation.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
So, a little backstory on this is 25 years ago, the town's landfill was causing leaching and contamination into residents' wells in that area. Some of those homes became part of the Scanty Valley Water District. Other homes were mandated by the DEP for annual testing. This past year, the DEP changed its requirements and now mandates that any of these homes that were previously tested now get tested for a contaminant called PFAS. It's a mandated requirement by the state, and if any homes tested low level hits required quarterly testing. Within the last few months, the DEP came back and said, hey, 7 homes that were being tested, we now have additional 12 we want to test. And now all these homes are being required for quarterly testing for PFAS, which is quite costly, over $150,000, $150,000, right? Dollars a year in just annual testing. What we're trying to do is get these residents hooked up to clean drinking water, one, reduce the testing costs, two, provide the residents in that area free clean drinking water, free contaminants. So that's what this next 3 articles are referred to.
Are there any questions for the presentation?
Kevin Moriarty, Northfield. Water's a problem not just there, it's a problem in a lot of areas in the town. And a few years ago, I remember one of the first town meetings I went to when I moved back to town, there was an article up for vote to get public water in either from East Long Meadow or from Wilbraham, and it was voted down. I think we should relook at that, so more than just 7 or 12 residents can benefit from better water.
Any other questions or comments? Peter?
Where does it say? What are we getting for 1.5 million?
Clean drinking water.
No kidding. What are you gonna do?
The 1.5 is going to go to upgrade the pump station. It was built 25 years ago. It has an in-ground hydromatic tank, which is no longer being built. They don't service them, and they're failing out of age. So the time is to upgrade the system to be able to support new homes.
Well, it should be a combination of all the systems together because you should be putting bigger pipes in the water system as well.
Right, so there's two phases for this. There's a phase A and a phase B. Phase A is upgrading the pump station and hooking up 7 homes in the immediate vicinity. Phase B is we're still hoping to get more grant and state funding.
Are the homes on this, are the ones that are on this map listed as being hooked up to?
The map that you see at the back, there's homes that are currently in the district. There's 7 homes that are currently being tested, and then there's an additional 12 homes that are now being tested.
Mine is one of them.
Yep.
You gotta be a chemist to read the proposal spec. You don't know what to say. But again, they're putting bigger pipes in, you don't need as big a tank at the pump station. So you can use your pipes that you're holding, and you're updating your system now. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Just a second. All right, Jim, my theory is put bigger pipes in instead of class 4 and plastic they've been putting in. And then that will be your storage instead of a holding tank at the present site. What are you going to put in for that?
I think we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about upgrading
But
the pump station with more storage.
the pump station and not the whole water system. So the way this is written, you have to go to one and then go to the other.
Correct, it's in 2 phases. We have phase A and phase B. Phase A is rebuilding and upgrading the infrastructure, which needs to happen in order for phase B to happen. We can't do phase B without phase A.
Yes, but if you're, what size pipe are you putting in the next section on this? You're not understanding my thoughts then, or I'm not getting across correctly.
I think you're going off topic a little bit. I believe there are 4 inch pipes that are in there now. But you have to talk to Time Bomb, they're the engineer, that's all.
Well, then maybe we ought to postpone it until the engineer can come and explain it.
Can you repeat that question?
Maybe we ought to postpone this vote then until the engineer can come and explain what they're gonna do.
Well, what we're doing, I'm trying to explain it to you, Peter. We're going to upgrade the pump station. In order to do that,
But you can't answer my question.
I don't really think you have a question there, Peter. You have a statement.
Well, question state however you choose to acknowledge it. See, when they were down Main Street, they only put a 4-inch pipe in. They weren't looking to the future, they were just looking to put a Band-Aid on the system. If they went with a 6, 8, or 10-inch pipe, they're looking to the future, and you wouldn't have to worry about so much of a tank because you could use the pipe as your holding tank instead of spending minimal for one. I don't think you still understand.
I understand you're talking about putting a bigger main so you can push more water through.
Right, but then you don't get a bigger holding tank to spend the money there.
That's what we're doing.
What?
I think we can get into this back and forth all day long. We're not here to re-engineer the system. We need to know a number. If we're not convinced that what we're doing is appropriate, then we vote against it. If we see it as positive, we vote in favor. We're not going to engineer the system sitting here on the town meeting floor. That was done by, I'm going to assume, the town's engineering department. So I get your point, Peter, but you and I and Craig aren't going to sit here and re-engineer the system. We either vote positive or negative based on how we feel.
Correct. But there was not much before us on how this whole system was gonna go in, other than hearsay.
I mean, as a rule, I can only give you from my practical
Yeah.
experience on the board. Typically, the selectmen do a presentation on the engineering of the system. I see your point, you're clearly well versed in it, but that is not what this body is here to decide, whether the system is engineered.
So it wasn't 100% thought out correctly then, but we're gonna spend a lot of money for it.
Well, that's an opinion, Peter, and the engineers submitted something that was their opinion, and that's what the selectmen brought forward, that's what they need to vote. Again, my argument here is not to swear you one way or the other as the voter, that's specifically not my job. But it's also not, you're not gonna sit here and re-engineer this thing on the town meeting floor. So that's my point.
I know, okay, thank you.
I did, yes, sir.
Mark Kendrick, South Clinton Road. I think to answer your question, I'm not an engineer. I don't know a whole lot about the project. I think the expansion tank we're talking about here is to maintain pressure in the pipes. It's not a holding tank per se. It's to maintain pressure. I mean, it's very similar to an expansion tank that we probably all have in our homes for our water systems. It's to maintain pressure. It's not a, an add-on. It's something that's not necessary. You can't do this by having bigger pipes. You gotta have this at the pump.
Over your head, you don't understand what you're saying.
Hold on, no. We are not gonna go there. We are not gonna do that. This is a respectful meeting. Said that from the outset. Yes, sir.
Move the question.
We have a motion to move the question. We also have a second. This is a separate motion before we take the vote on the expenditure. So this is a motion that's been made and seconded to move the question. All those in favor of moving the question? Any opposed? We are now going to vote on the question. This requires a 2/3 vote as it does involve borrowing. We may have to do a count because I was off by 4 votes on the last one. That said, all those in favor of the question? Any opposed? The vote is 2/3 plus. Question passes. Article 14. To see if the town will vote to appropriate a sum of money by borrowing to expand the Scantic Valley Water District, including all costs incidental or related thereto, and to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the board of selectmen to issue bonds or notes that may be necessary for the purpose, and to apply the premium received by the town upon sale of any bonds or notes thereunder, lest any such premium apply to the payment of the cost of the issuance of such bonds or notes, pay the project cost, and reduce the amount authorized to be borrowed by the amount of the premium so applied. Provided, however, that the vote taken hereunder shall be expressly contingent upon the approval by the voters at an election of Proposition 2.5 debt exclusion, allowing the town to raise the money needed to repay its share of the borrowing outside the limits of Proposition 2.5, Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, pass any vote, take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town take no action on this article.
So I read you all that in vain. So the motion is been made to take no action, it's been seconded, the advisory committee has a recommendation.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
This is a majority vote, as they have asked for no action on the question. All those in favor of no action? Anybody opposed? No action it is. Article 50, Scanning Valley Water District Extension. To see if the town will vote to extend the Scanning Valley Water District by extending the existing water main from the intersection of Glendale Road and Scanning Road northeastward approximately 1,900 feet along Glendale Road to the intersection of Crossroads, and further to extend from the intersection of Glendale Road and Crossroads southward approximately 1,050 feet along Cross Road, where it will connect the existing water main on Cross Road, located approximately 400 feet north of the intersection of Cross Road and Scantic Road, and further by extending the existing water main from the intersection of Scannick Road and South Munson Road northeastward, approximately 800 feet along South Munson Road to the front of parcel ID number 14-020-004, also known as 27 South Munson Road, and further by extending the existing water main from the intersection of Scannick Road and South Munson Road southeastward, approximately 1,100 feet along the Scannick Road to the front of parcel ID 14-020-004, also known as 148 Scannick Road. Map attached or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to extend Scannick Valley Water District as described in warrant article number 15. Second. And just as context, this is just changing the geographical area of Scannick Valley Water District in accordance with the previous articles we voted on, just so we have authorization.
So we got a motion, we have a second for the amendment water district. Does the advisory committee have a recommendation?
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Okay, so this vote is to extend or expand the size of the district. It's by description only. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor of the question? Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Go ahead.
Just in reference to the article we took no action on, that's phase B of the extension to include more homes. We're still working through that at the moment. We're hoping to get some more federal funding, state funding, and some disadvantaged community funding just based on the staff area cost.
Maybe sometime, with the selectmen or somebody, do an overview of this whole project, because it just seems so out of control, and it comes up every meeting, and we don't even, I don't understand any of it.
So, Mary, I probably should ask you to come up to the thing, but your question is, I hope the selectmen got it. I think it's a fair question, it's a fair point. I'm going to repeat it so that everybody hears it. The point was that probably the next meeting or the next time that we discuss the water district, it might be nice to have an overview of what the district actually will now look like with the additional homes. And maybe to Peter's point, there could be some discussion about the sizing of the district and how the district is physically operating.
And how it got there, how the whole thing started, and, you know, the whole history.
Oh, you gotta give it to you, because I was there.
And how you.
And I'm not gonna do it now.
Oh,
It's all my fault. All right, Article 16, temporary moratorium, battery energy storage systems, commonly referred to as the TAPs. To see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaws of the town to put in place a one-year moratorium on the construction and operation of battery energy storage systems, with the exception of site-specific systems intended to support single residences, commercial buildings, and systems operating in conjunction with the previously permitted ground-mounted solar systems in all zoning districts within the town of Hampden. During the time, the town of Hampden shall engage in a bylaw review, examine best operations, safety, and technology, with consideration being given to their impact on the health, safety, and welfare of Hampden citizenry, and the development of an appropriate zoning bylaw amendments which reasonably regulate battery energy storage systems or take any other action relative to the school.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to take no action on this article.
We've got a motion, a second, advisory,
Advisory recommends favorable action.
favorable action, no action. I think if we just go back to that, I'll do this, I'd have to jump in front of the selectmen, but I think Don mentioned in his opening comments when we talked about the town report that there was an effort on their behalf to establish this moratorium, but the Attorney General found that that could not be done. Is that all we heard?
There's a case decided on Tracer Lane, in which the court decided that you could not have a ban projects in the total town. Solar, anything related to solar projects in the total town. It's too retired there. We don't have a bylaw that says, we don't have a bylaw that says you could have battery energy storage systems, and therefore, in our bylaws, if it's not in the bylaw, you can't have it. The court has decided in other cases that you cannot do that. So this is our have to do it, so we're going to probably move forward in the fall with a extensive bylaw to regulate the safety of the stores. The large units, not your house, gallons or house, but the large, things, battery energy storage systems.
Thank you for the clarification. Are there any more questions on no action of this article? Seeing none, no action requires a majority vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? No action on the article. Article 17, landfill tower lease. To see if the town will vote to authorize the board of selectmen on terms the board finds favorable for the town to amend and extend for a series of 5-year periods not to exceed 20 years the existing lease of a tower site located at the town landfill. Where said lease is from town to SPA Towers 2 LLC, and where the land at issue is the subject of the notice of lease, recorded in the Hampden Registry of Deeds on April 4, 2005, in book 14,922, page 181, or take any other action relative thereto. Sometimes I wish we could just say what he said and ask for a vote. He's good. Mr. Moderator, the town vote for authorize board select terms that the board finds favorable to the town to amend and extend for a series of 5-year periods not to exceed 20 years the existing lease of a tower site located on the town landfill. Where said lease is from the town to SPA Towers LLC, 2 LLC, and where the land issue is the subject notice of lease recorded in the Hampden Registry of Deeds on April 4, 2005, in book 14922, page 181. We have a motion in the second. Is the advisory committee of recommendation?
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Any question or comment? Seeing none, this requires a majority vote. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? It is unanimous. Article 18, fire station design. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from unappropriated available funds a sum of money for the design of a renovation and/or expansion of the Hampden Fire Station, or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate $50,000 from the overlay reserve account to pay for the design of the renovation and/or expansion of the Hampden Fire Station.
Second. Got a motion, we've got a second. Advisory committee?
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Any comments, any questions? Seeing none, I see a question. Carry on, come on. Come on, we gotta, just so everybody can hear. I know it gets tough.
Very long, one of my chairs. Haven't we done fire designs before?
Not a conceptual design. We've done research and community engagement.
And how much money have we spent to do those? A significant amount?
I couldn't tell you offhand. I think you were on board for one of them.
Yeah, and I thought it was a lot of money.
We've never got any payments from any of those.
And so now what are we doing? We're getting more sophisticated
We're
design?
getting turn-paid blueprints.
And how much does this cost?
50,000.
50,000. Oh, okay. Is there something?
So the motion is for funding architectural fees, the amount is $50,000. This requires a majority vote. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? There is a majority. Article 19, funding for Hampden's 150th anniversary events. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of money to prepare for activities surrounding the 150th anniversary of the founding of the town of Hampden in 1878, or take any other action relative thereto. I move that the town vote pursuant to general laws, chapter 34, section 53I, to appropriate $10,000 from overlay reserve account to fund activities in 2028, celebrating Hampden's 150th anniversary as an independent town. There's one thing I think we have to Advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Thank you, not that I was here. But I want to thank right now the Board of Assessors. There are 4 funding articles on the warrant that are made possible with no impact to the tax rate because the assessors on a good management were able to release money from the overlay reserve account. And we appreciate your help in helping us with that budget. For what it's worth, I was playing cold baseball with John and I used to umpire together in 1978. I think we can do that anymore. Running out the... All right, so we've got a moment. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this is a majority vote. At some point, this will make a second $10,000 payment into this account. At some point, we will be looking for a committee and a chair of that committee. Look at you, man. And, so get your resume together. All right, so we have a motion, second. Some of the questions on this. This will require a majority vote for the $10,000. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? It is majority. Article 20. To see if the town will vote to hear the report of the Fiber Optic Committee on the status of the establishment of a municipally owned townwide fiber optic network or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to hear the report of the Fiber Optic Committee on the status of the establishment of a municipally owned townwide fiber optic network.
As I said, we have a motion with the advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
So basically, this sounds to me there's going to be a bit of a report, maybe some update status report on where the town stands on fiber optic. Am I correct in that? Okay. Go ahead. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. We do need to take a vote to be sure that the meeting is willing to hear the report. So we need a majority vote. Be certain you're willing to listen to this. All those in favor? Any opposed? You get to hear a report. And it was a majority.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Louie and John Hammond. This is Brett Sawyer. We're both on the Town of Hampden Fiber Optic Committee. I'm chairman of that matters. But basically, sorry.
Yeah, make sure you hold it closer because you take it a little soft, okay? So hold it closer.
Sorry about that. Okay. So basically, we are the newly formed Hampden Fiber Optic Committee. We are tasked with trying to bring fiber optic internet into as most of you know, completed last fall, but our efforts are not. We still think that would be valuable and money generated for the town, and that's why we reformed about a 9-member committee. And we are currently in our, can we go to the next slide, please? Sorry, thank you. We are currently in what's called the discovery phase. We don't have a lot of new information, but we're exploring local ISP providers that need alternative to our spectrum service. They're the faster and more robust future technology internet speeds to our town. So basically, we're kind of in that discovery phase where we're interviewing and trying to really discover what's best for the town moving forward for our provider. That being said, that's slide 2, and I'm going to hand it over to Brett for slide 3. Thank you.
Let's say recall that we were interested in a municipally owned project for bringing high-speed internet access as an alternative spectrum to every resident in the town. Right now, there are some residents, especially on the eastern side of town, that do not have access to high-speed internet or don't have an alternative to spectrum. One of the main reasons that we're currently looking into a municipally owned is to be a source of generative revenue for the town. So every $100 you spend in a spectrum, state spectrum, we are trying to bring an SD that's owned by the town, operated by the town, controlled by the town, for the perpetual system, so that we were paying for high-speed internet. That money is going to the town. Instead of the community, you're not paying a corporation that's headquartered in that. To that end, we have just wrapped up our discovery phase, which we're waiting to hear back from the city, who we engaged with last year, to determine if their proposal is still valid. Obviously, see there's probably some fluctuation of numbers, so I'm going to take another look at those and determine that's still viable for the town. We also looked at fiber string, which is a SE out of South Hadley that serves about 17 communities through Western Massachusetts, mainly in rural communities like ours. And with the completion of that phase one, moving to phase two is community engagement. So we are on Facebook, we plan to sign up Hampden Fiber on Facebook page. We also have email. We are also going to have open house here on June 12th to field any questions regarding why you need fiber, why is fiber good, why is fiber better than we currently have, what other options that we look into. And that'll be 6 to 8 p.m. June 12th. That's really all we got. Any questions?
What time on June 12th?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 p.m. on June 12th here at our Burgess Library. We'd like to call it a listening session.
Are you taking Starlink into account?
We have, yes, absolutely. We're looking at all alternatives.
There are some private options, private providers that we are looking into. What we are reporting on is specifically a municipally owned and operated program. To our knowledge, say, as a Starlink or as an option, that's something that a resident would purchase individually on their own.
Well, yeah, you mentioned earlier that there are people that can't get internet in town.
Absolutely.
You can purchase Starlink.
With varying degrees of success, and that is absolutely an option. But the selection of the town considered there is a due diligence responsibility over the town that everybody has access to a hard line connection. Something not, you're right, you absolutely get T-Mobile. And there are residents on the eastern side of the town that say that T-Mobile coverage is spotty at best. Starlink can be an option, and that is obviously an option available to residents. But we are specifically trying to find what entities could be services to the town and residents of the town for not only the next 10 years, but the information access needs going forward for 10, 20, 30, as something that's controlled by the town, sitting operated by citizens.
Are you guys all residents?
Yes.
Great question, by the way, and we definitely encourage more of those on June 12th. Any input on that?
Sounds like that wraps up our report, gentlemen. Thank you. Article 21, pickup truck for the highway department. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from unappropriated available fund the sum of money to purchase a new pickup truck with plow or take any other action on this measure. Mr. Governor, move that the town vote to appropriate $60,000 from the overlay reserve account to purchase a new pickup truck with plow. Got a motion, we've got a second.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Any questions on this? This requires a majority vote for the money to be used for the pickup truck purchase. Seeing no questions, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 22, Innichog High School capital improvements. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer unappropriated available funds the sum of money to update the wireless access points at Innichog Regional High School or take any other action relative to their students.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $43,279 from the overlay reserve account to pay for updating wireless access points at Minnetonka Regional High School.
Motion's been made and seconded to transfer from the overlay reserve. Advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Are there any questions or discussions on this transfer? Seeing none, it requires a majority vote. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a question. Peter.
Brand new school, what do we need fixing?
I'm not going to have you come up here. I'll repeat the question. Peter's question is, it's a brand new school, why do they have to fix it? So, who's going to,
How old is it? 12 years.
So this time, for wireless access Wi-Fi access points from the high school are original to the high school. They have not been upgraded in 12 years. Technology has changed a lot in 12 years. There's much larger number of devices that are connecting to those wireless access points. And so at this point, they're really at the end of life and need replacement.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this requires a majority vote. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, hold it.
I just wanted to ask you about the lights, like, I never knew what happened about
Hold on. Hold on. The question was about the lights and the issue of the lights in the high school over the last several years. And I have to tell you, we're not going to entertain that. It's not on the warrant for discussion, and it would take way too much time based on all that's being generated. So, in the interest of staying on point and trying to get through the agenda, this is a majority vote. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? It is a majority. Article 23, Government Study Committee. To see if the town will vote to hear the report of the Government Study Committee on its review of all aspects of Hampton town government or take any other action relative thereto. Mr. Dixon.
I move that the town vote to accept and hear the report of the government study committee and review of all aspects of the town.
We have a second, Roger.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Right, so what you're voting on here is to hear the report. We're not taking any action on any items or any of the other questions. This is simply a vote to hear the report. We need to vote to hear another report. All those in favor of hearing the report of the committee? Any opposed? It is a majority. We will hear the report.
Okay, so in May of 2022, the town meeting voted to authorize the government study committee to look at all aspects of town government and to report back in 1 year. The government study committee started meeting in March of 2023 and delivered our report in March of 2024. The full report can be found on the town website, and our printed copies as well as consolidated outside of the corner. There are 5 recommendations that require changes to bylaws, and they are in the form of warrant articles. Due to timing and legal questions and issues, we will be looking to take action on one of our warrant articles tonight. Our intention is to the 4 others we discussed and voted upon at fall. So tonight, we recommend no action be taken. I'll list the 4 and then we'll move on to the one for tonight. Our rationale for each warrant article can be found in the full report. We hope you'll each take the time to read it. The 4 articles that we're going to take no action on and move to the fall are first that we recommend.
Why don't we do this? Let's take we have to vote on the articles one at a time anyway to take no action.
Okay.
So why don't we we'll kind of skip that part of it. Okay. If you have anything else, please feel free to add.
So that's something for the report. Essentially. The report's out there. I hope you read it. It's on the website. We work hard on it.
Okay, change your comments for the moment.
And hang on to it because we'll be talking more about it on the fall.
Okay, so now the next part of this is we're going to take what Keith was going to start to explain, Mr. Dixon was going to start to explain each of the next questions. So we're basically, as he alluded to, there's no action, but we have to go through the formal process of doing this, and we'll do it now. Article 24, Board of Selectmen increase from 3 to 5 members. To see if the town will vote to increase the number of selectmen on the town's Board of Selectmen from 3 to 5 or take any other action relative thereto.
I move that the town vote to take no action on this article at this time.
Second. Got a motion, we got a second for no action, advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Are there any questions or discussion on no action? Seeing none. This is, I'm sorry, there is one. Yes, sir.
Why are we taking no action?
And that's what I want to give you the opportunity to do it each time, so go ahead.
So, in the report, we outline the recommendations, and a lot of them kind of dovetail each other. So, on a few of the next ones that we're gonna recommend no action on, we sort of, there's a process, it's a two-step process similar to some of the other things we voted on tonight, where it would have to pass at this meeting tonight, and then it would have to be on for the general election. There was some question about whether or not, because we sort of ran out of time, just the timing of when the election is, and when this vote would be, didn't allow, there was gonna be an issue, potential issue there that the timing wasn't gonna line up. So in order to have it procedurally to be able to work correctly, it's better to vote at the fall town meeting and then have those go on the general election for the next year. So that's why we're looking to take no action right now. The timing of it just didn't work the way that we hoped it would. And that's we do want to revisit it.
There really wasn't a big enough window between our meeting and the actual ballot next week. There needed to be 35 days. There wasn't enough time, so they'll reload. You're going to hear this in the fall. So, on the motion to take no action requires a majority vote. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? That is unanimous. Article 25, town clerk elected to appointed. To see if the town will vote to change its elected town clerk to a town clerk appointed by the Board of Selectmen or take any other action relative thereto.
I move that the town vote to take no action on it, sorry.
We've got a motion, we've got a second. Advisory recommendation on no action.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
So the questions and the timing are the same, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we are. So this is the recommendation, this is the reason for the recommendation for no action. All those in favor of no action on the question? Are there any opposed? It is unanimous. Article 26, treasurer and collector, combined positions, and vote elected to the town. To see if the town will vote to have its elected town treasurer and elected collector of taxes be combined as a single treasurer collector, be appointed by the Board of Selectmen or take any other action relative thereto.
I move that the town take no action on this article.
Got a motion, second, advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
So you've heard this twice now, it's the same. All those in favor of no action? Are there any opposed to no action? It is unanimous. We are now on to Article 27. To see if the town will vote to amend the general bylaws of the town of Hampden by deleting the text subsection D of section 1 of chapter 2 town meetings and replacing that text with the following. All votes on the motion shall be taken by a show of hands or subject to the availability of the system to enable electronic voting and at the discretion of the moderator be used by use of such electronic voting system. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prevent the taking of a vote by ballot. A motion to that effect shall be duly made and carried by a majority of the voters present voting thereon. When a question is determined to be a ballot question, every person voting shall have his or her name checked by the checklist of the registrar of voters before depositing the ballot in the receptacle provided or take any other action relative thereto.
I move the town vote to amend the general bylaws of the town by deleting the text of subsection D to section 1 of chapter 2 town meetings, replacing that text with the following. All votes on motions shall be taken by a show of hands or subject to the availability of the system to enable electronic voting at the discretion of the moderator by use of such electronic voting system. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prevent the taking of a vote by ballot. A motion to that effect shall be made carried by a majority of the voters present and voting thereon. When a question is determined by a ballot vote, every person voting shall have his or her name checked by the checklist of the registrar of voters before depositing the ballot in the receptacle provided.
Motion. We have a second. Second. We've got the motion, second, advisory.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
Jim, Jim, I move to take no
no action on this article.
Thank you. All right, so we've got to pack this and unpack it. We've got a motion to take no action on the article. First, we must vote. We've got a motion and a second to take no action on this article. We therefore have to vote first on whether or not the body in general wants to take no action. So again, motion second. The advisory committee will make a recommendation.
So it's a motion to amend his motion to take no action.
That'll change it. That's why. Yeah, you need to do something. That's okay. All right, so what we're doing first is we're voting whether or not to accept the amendment to the original motion. And that would require a majority vote. If the motion, the amendment passes, then we're going to take no action. No action, okay. So, yeah, that's the packing. So, first thing is, we have to vote, it requires a majority vote to accept the amendment, which is to take no action. Now, Jim, do you want to, are there any questions on this, Jim? You want to come up and give us a rationale? Yes.
We have a recommendation on this.
And before you do your part, they're going to make their recommendation
Advisory recommends unfavorable action on this motion.
on the amendment.
No, on the no action.
Yeah, we're still on the same.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're doing good. Jim?
James, at the annual meeting last year, the vote of the town was, the town voted to authorize creation of a government study committee, appointed by the moderator, to review all aspects of Hampden town government and to issue a report with any recommendations to the annual town meeting in May 2024. The word recommendations. We're not charged with bringing forward actions. This is an action. The committee had a hearing about a month ago where they went over these issues, all of them, and I think it was not sufficient notice for people to look at these things in detail. There was some wording was used at that hearing that the legal counsel had approved it. I think the approval was for the ballot questions, not the timing. And I'm saying for this reason, for the timing reason, I think we should take no action. And the reason I'm choosing no action, rather than no vote, is because I think it deserves to come back, but in proper order. Second reason that I'm proposing this is there's no guardrails on this proposal. It says, should a system become, an electronic system become available at the discretion of the moderator, basically, we can use that system. There's no committee to oversee, no oversight committee, nothing for guardrails on that. I would like to see it come back to guardrails. Thank you.
Before you leave, Jim, does anybody have any questions for Jim on his amendment? Okay, so the first thing that we're doing now is we're voting whether or not we accept the amendment to take no action. If we accept it, then we actually take the vote to take no action. So the first thing you're voting on is whether or not you agree with the amendment. So all those in favor of the amendment to the motion, the amendment being to take no action, please raise your hands. I'm going to say that it's against the amendment. We can take account, but I think it's going to be against because it's a simple majority. So the amendment failed. So now we either continue debate on whether or not we allow potential introduction of electronic voting, or we vote yes or no on that question. Keith, do you have anything else you want to add to this?
So this motion is not a binding motion that would mean that if we vote for this, there's going to be electronic voting at town meeting. That's not what it's about. What it's about is changing the wording of the bylaw to potentially allow that if the board of selectmen finds a vendor and decides to, and they can research through vendors and talk to different companies, and they determine that there's a electronic voting system that could benefit the town, they would then have to raise appropriate funds to pay for that. That would be a separate question that we heard at the future town meeting. And then if that system is required, then the moderator would have to decide whether or not to use that system. It doesn't mean that we have to use it. The show of hands, holding the cards, we can continue to do that if we, as a town, decide that we want to do that. If we want to have what happened earlier tonight, where we have a vote that's closed and then we have people counting. If that's the system that we think is the most efficient and modern system for the town to use, then we can go ahead and continue to do that. But as a thing, we feel as though there's a better way that we can take votes at town meeting that aren't necessarily holding your hand up, voting no to the thing that the person sitting next to you just proposed. What just happened right now was a little uncomfortable for me, but that's how we do it. And I don't know why we're doing it that way still. One of the issues in town, we talked about this electronic voting at our very first government study meeting, probably about 15 minutes into it. This topic came up. It's definitely an issue in the town. We talked about it earlier tonight with other issues where town engagement, community engagement is falling. And I think part of the reason for that is people don't like coming to town meeting and literally raising their vote in the air so people can see. It's uncomfortable, it's not. It's just, I think there's a better way we can do it. Again, this vote to amend the bylaw doesn't require that. It just allows for it.
Keith, I'm going to hold you there. Because now we're going to some questions. Gentlemen back, please come up. Keep voting. Oh, there's one. Exactly.
Let's make a motion that we count the vote from previous.
That was a clear majority.
Make a motion that we count.
If I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way. If there are 10 people that want to vote count, then I'm required to count it. Are there 10 people? I need a show of hands, 10 people that want the last vote counted.
Point of order. Aren't we on another question now?
Yes.
No, it's because theoretically the amendment could be revived. So if we do this, we're back to no action. So again, we have 10 that want to count. I've got 1, 2, 3. So we're not going to take a count. But I want to, now there was another gentleman with a question, yes sir, right there.
I understand what you're saying, but that's not what your wording is here. It just says at the discretion of the moderator. So all that language about them deciding, finding a system, that's not in this bylaw change.
Well, without appropriation, if you don't spend money, you don't have a system.
That's not the wording that amendment.
The wording of the amendment is to amend the bylaw.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah, the system at the discretion of the moderator. It's nothing to do with what you're saying appropriating.
So in the end, if we just hold on 1 second, in the end, whatever the process that may or may not be carried out, for the acquisition of the system or not. In the end, it's the discretion of the moderator as to whether or not the system will be put into play. So I believe that's really more the point of where the motion is. And it's actually changing the language inside the town bylaw, because if you, and again, you may not have had the opportunity when you read the whole thing through, that's why it actually talks about a secret ballot, because it has to address it alongside. So it's changing the motion, it's changing the language of the town bylaw. That's what the question is really for. It's changing the bylaw. So, yes, sir. Yep, and there's going to be one more. Go ahead.
Thank you, David Fellows, here in the room. Like most of you, don't like me taking over you very much. So when I first read this, my first place my mind went to was how reliable it was and how they would skim and what happens when I go home and hand it to my neighbor and the whole thing. And what I soon realized was that all of those questions about, and other towns are doing it, so there must be a solution, but all those questions about the reliability of the system and how safe it is and how much we can trust it are all ones that we'd be talking about when we're actually talking about buying a system, not about theoreticals on this. And again, this is just an enabling legislation. There's no way that, at least I don't think that Mr. Flynn's going to write a check and buy us a voting system, or Mr. Davenport, or Craig's too young, he hasn't got that much money yet. But, so, whatever the specific requirements of the system to satisfy us that it's safe, that's something that would happen when we finally have a proposal at all. So this doesn't scare me at all. And I get scared pretty easy.
Yeah, as a reminder, and I'm going to recognize you back in late. As a reminder, this is a change of the bylaw. It's not about the acquisition of equipment or the installation of equipment or the utilization per se. It is changing the town bylaw to allow for its potential use. So I just want to make sure we're clear that it's not about the equipment, it's about the bylaw. Yes?
Heather is at 18 Road, and I'm going to make this even more comfortable for Keith, who's my neighbor, and a very nice neighbor. But I am completely against changing the writing in it. I know my hand goes up and I voted. I hit a button and I don't know that my vote got anywhere. I hate to even offer that we even try to change the bylaws and spend that kind of money to buy a system like that. I tried to text my family to tell them it was going to be a late night, and 3 times and it has not gone through. So I just don't trust it.
Sorry, Keith. I'll wait to get more water.
Are there any more questions or comments? Yes. Please, yep, come on up. Please come up. You're moving the question.
Mark Munter, 8 Capitol Drive. Can we re-vote on the motion to amend the?
No,
because
that's passed.
The question that I would have would be the same as the other gentleman pointed out, is that I'm not opposed to the technology, but the wording that seems to say whether the use of it would be up to the moderator and not up to people in town.
Yeah, so your choice here, again, the whole premise here.
Every year you can throw the rascal out.
Okay. Yes, please. That's what I didn't want to say. I just wanted to give the opportunity here. Technically, no is no action, because otherwise you can revisit it. All right, let's do this. What's it? Call the question? I mean, my plan is to move down. So let's get going. All right. So now we're down to a majority. Here, is there something where it's not? Oh, I thought you had a question. Thank you. I feel better now. All right. This is a majority vote to amend the town bylaw for the potential use of electronic voting. All those in favor of amending the town bylaw, please raise your hand.
have electronic copies.
Who's raising?
Oh, it's gonna be a lot, so.
All those in favor of amending the bylaw, please raise your hands and leave them up. So I'll take 4 votes before I'm not gonna get off again.
Did you count, Keith? No. That's 20. He doesn't count. Oh, I did. Thank you. 20.
Okay. Put your hands down, please. All those against amending the bylaw, please raise your hand and leave them up. Vote is 57 to 27. The majority passes the question.
Great presentation, I'm sorry.
We had a cycle, did you pass?
Pass. You're welcome. Article 28, School Resource Officer, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from unappropriated available funds a sum of money to fund the school resource officer for FY 2024 at Winchog Regional High School or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate $11,950 to fund the school resource officer for fiscal year 2024 at Winchog Regional High School.
For the motion, we have the second.
Advisory recommends favorable action.
So this is to fund the resource officer for Winchog for the last year. It requires a majority vote. Are there any questions? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? It is unanimous. Article 29, Advisory Committee Reserve Fund. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from unappropriated available funds the sum of money from the Advisory Committee from the Advisory Committee Reserve Fund or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate $25,000 for the advisory committee reserve fund.
We got a motion, we got a second. How do you feel about your own motion?
We think we should have this reserve fund.
Does anybody have any questions on $25,000? Peter?
Oh, it's in the savings account, they can't get it there.
I'm gonna not make it problem do this. They want to know, he wants to ask, transfer from the reserve, from the stabilization account.
The short answer is no, we don't.
How much is in the account? Last meeting was over $2 million, we couldn't touch.
Stabilization has about 1.8 million in it.
Thank you.
This requires a majority vote to raise and appropriate $25,000 for this account. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? There is a majority. Article 30, General Stabilization Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from unappropriated available funds a sum of money or deposit into the General Stabilization Fund or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to take no action on this article.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for no action on the article. How do you feel about the motion?
I recommend you pass it as well.
It's good that you support yourselves. This is a motion to take no action. It requires a simple majority vote. Any questions? All those in favor of no action? Any opposed? That one is unanimous. Last article, if I'm not mistaken, Article 31, reducing the tax rate to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from the unappropriated available fund or from the General Stabilization Fund for the purpose of reducing the tax rate for fiscal year 2025 3 for 3 on your side, that's correct. This is a majority vote to take no action. All those in favor? Any opposed? It is majority. Yes, so it's a majority. Motion to adjourn. We're done. We had a great night. Thank you so much.